well, we have Jigar Mistry as well, co-founder at Buoyant Capital, who joins us on the show. Well, Jigar, good to see you. And Jigar, before I ask you your comment on the market, I just want to put out a piece for our viewers. And I could call it fundalytics. That's funda and politics, you put it together. And a few stocks are reacting to some news flow. So we'll tell you the political development and then we'll tell you the fundamental reason as well the stocks are up. Let's address three of them. KCP, that stock is higher in today's trading session. The big news is Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, he's set to become the CM for the fourth time. The reason that the markets are excited is because the TDP, in their last tenure, they were talking about the development of Amravati. And when they went out of power, Mr. Reddy, Jagannath Reddy that came in, well, he changed things. And the focus on Amravati just got pulled back. And now, in fact, there are three capitals out there. So they're hoping, the stock market's hoping that the focus on Amravati's revival plan comes about yet again, which will be very, very good. Let's run you through KCP's business model. More than 95% of their money comes in from cement as well as sugar put it together. And they have smaller segments like heavy engineering as well as hotel. Three big points I wanted to highlight. One is on their cement business, they have a capacity of around 4.3 million tons approximately. They have limestone reserves as well, and they're talking about expansion out there. If you look at a valuation at $50 per ton, that capacity of around 4.3 million tons odd, it comes around 1,800 crores. At $60, it comes around 2,150 crores odd. So that's the enterprise value just for the cement business. And the entire company as of now is actually valued at around 1,800 crores, 2,300 crores of market cap. They have cash of around 500 crores approximately. So there is some valuation support. And in addition to the cement business, they also have the sugar, they have the Vietnamese sugar business, which rose up revenues of more than 1,000 crores and a bit of close to 240 crores. Next to JSPL, the promoter entity, Mr. Naveen Jindal, he joined the BJP a couple of months ago, and he's won Kurukshetra. So that's why, in fact, on the street is quite happy with the political department. But what about fundamentally as well? The crude capacity is set to go up by close to around 65%. They have lined up a big capex of close to around 30,000 crores odd, and they're saying that they'll keep the debt in check. So the market likes that. And they're also focusing on pushing margins higher by value-added products, the slurry pipe they've spoken about, as well as the captive coal mines. So it explains why JSPL actually is booming away. It's up close to around 5% as we speak. And the third stock we're looking at is Impa. That stock is up more than 10%. Mr. Jay Panda of the BJP, he won a seat in Odisha. So that's come back to him. And in fact, Mr. Subrakant Panda is the promoter of Impa. They are brothers. The brother who won the political seat has no relation with regard to no involvement in the business. But since he's a brother, that's why, in fact, some kind of political rub-off is there. But fundamentally as well, things are looking up for Impa. And three big reasons. They're expanding their capacity by close to around 40%. The chrome ore prices are firm. And the third factor is they're awaiting close to around 220 crores of compensation for their coal blocks. So put this together, just thought we'll highlight the fundamental and the political reasons that these stocks are flying away in today's trading session. Jigar, a few of these stocks, well, you would have tracked them in the past many years because, at one point of time, your core beat was cement as well as metals. Any view on any three of them?
No, Nigel, sorry. None of them are in sort of the coverage radar or ownership for us as we speak.
But you would like to comment on, either the metal space, you have tracked that closely. Do you think they've run ahead of themselves? The street believes that maybe they are in for a re-rating because India has a bigger role to play, particularly on the ferrous side. Your take?
Right, Nigel. So as we sort of used to discuss back in the day, prices per se, other than longs, don't really are not really driven by what happens in India as much as what happens in China, the entire EXIM trade. So essentially, as a sort of theme, it does make sense because, eventually you are going to de-dollarize at whatever fast or a slower pace. And therefore, all mechanisms for that, be it sort of crypto, gold, commodities, real estate, they all relative to the fiat will improve. And therefore, some ownership of, commodities is important. We have a small ownership for some metals companies in the fund. But other than that, I think it is reasonably stock specific and sort of ferrous or non-ferrous is a relative take on that.
Jigar, afternoon, and thank you very much for joining in. One of the big movers is Vodafone Idea today, almost at their 15 rupee mark. The telecom auctions, which were supposed to begin tomorrow, have now been pushed forward to the 25th of June now. So about a 2-week delay in the telecom auctions. But, is there a tactical play at least on Vodafone Idea? Anything that you would recommend at current levels?
Is that for me?
Yes, Jigar, go ahead.
Right. So I think as a theme, we are very excited about this because if you look at sort of the average ARPU in India, our ambition is to reach an ARPU level which is at the lower end of Africa. Right. Most companies on the conference call suggest that they want to reach a 300 rupee ARPU, which say $3.50 is at the lower end of where say Africa is at between $3 and $7. China is between 7 and 11. Europe is 10 plus. US is 30 plus. Right. So obviously that stands to reason because essentially you are likely to see a scenario where the entire data ecosystem depends on the cheap data rate. And therefore we'll never run away with the kind of price hikes. But some hike, given that it's only a three-player market, is now evident. So as a theme, Vodafone or Indus or Bharti makes, at least to us, a lot of sense. We have a reasonably large allocation to this theme in the fund.
Okay, that's so the telecom names which are on the green side of the screen, as is the bulk of the market really.
Jigar, did you tell us? Have you already told us the top 3 buys?
Right, Prashant. So I think, I'm having a slightly difficult time believing this whole FMCG story the way it's playing out. Right? Yeah. Basically, at the core, people don't change. Like, remember, go back to the Vajpayee era. The FRBM Act was sort of, as a bill, it was promulgated during Vajpayee era. It became an act when it was Vajpayee era. Very painstakingly, they have, put India on the right glide path of your fiscal consolidation. Now, just because, they didn't get a full majority.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. I'm sorry, I'm pushing you because they're pushing me because we have to take a break. Let me ask you this. So, I agree with you. In the morning, I was saying FMCG financials. And what exactly?
Yes.
I remember you like... Okay, large financials, not microfinance companies. Credit access is up 10-11%. You got a PNB housing which is up 7-8%. Or is it just stick with the top banks?
Large banks and housing finance companies, Prashant.
Large banks and housing finance companies. And you want to name names? Top
LIC Housing, Aavas, sort of all of those. I think in this budget, we sort of do a deep dive into the housing financials and improvements thereon.
All right, fair enough. Gentlemen, we'll have you guys back. Prakash, apologies, shorter chat today. Jigar, shorter chat, but just out of time. Thank you very much for joining in with your perspective. Really appreciate it here on CNBC. We're up about, 723 points.